What's going on, ladies and gentlemen out there? This has been another edition of Tru Uncut. I am your host, Jerm So Tru, and this is...
It's Ari D. Hey, y'all.
And this is my wonderful co-host here. And what we're going to do is, we're going to go into relationships, but we're going to talk about do's and don'ts, and maybe why you don't want to do certain things and why you do want to do certain things. We want to just highlight a couple points. As we said, we want to help you ensure that you're able to date and have a better success rate at dating and being potentially in relationships moving forward in 2017. Excuse me, we're going to say 2017 or 2017, however you prefer to say it, or 017, as some people might say. So, first and foremost, Ari, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is some, let's talk about some positive stuff first. Let's start with some positivity. What are some things as a woman that you would tell guys to do for your woman? Give me like 2 good things that you would tell them to do.
2 good things for a man to do for his woman. One, I think this is important that a lot of women won't say, you need to sexually please me. And number 2,
now elaborate on that, because I think some guys come off sometime and they think because they a certain way, they a certain size, they think they can just do whatever they want. And I try to explain to fellas that you can't just put it in and move in and out. You got to do other things.
Please don't do that.
And you can't just be the person who does.
Don't do that, fellas.
I mean, you don't want to do that. It's because it's actually a sex can be an arty type of thing.
It is.
It's art.
It is. You have to learn your partner. You have to learn her specifically. Like, women are literally like snowflakes. Each woman is different. So even though you've been with another woman, what pleased her may not do anything for the woman that you're with right now.
Bingo. So now you heard it from a woman. So I hope now y'all listen. So if you want to elaborate a little further.
Well, sexually pleasing a woman, it can be just more than just, than the act of sex. Like, you have to really learn what she, like, intimacy and what she likes as a woman. It could be like the in between stages before sex, like what leads up to sex, like foreplay, or even like if I come home from work,
the scenery sometimes.
Yes, too. If I come home from work and the house is clean, baby, and the dinner is cooked, that's foreplay for me. Because a lot of women, we don't get that. So that right there can sexually arouse me. Just the notion that a man took the time out his day to think outside of, okay, when she gets in the bedroom, I'm just going to have sex with her. Because that's nothing. As we know, there's a difference between having sex and making love to someone. So when you're in a relationship, I really feel like the making love aspect should be a focal point to keep a woman happy. It's the same thing as with a man. And then also, I think that you have to be able to go outside the box when it comes to pleasing your woman. Like, a lot of men, they like to, stay comfortable in what they know. The same 4 moves, the same order of the moves. Like, there's no reason why a woman should be able to predict what you're about to do every single time you have sex. That's a problem. She's gonna get bored. I'm keeping it honest.
I'm just laughing because it's funny.
It's real. Like, come on, ladies. We all been in the same situation. Like,
I love my job.
When you're in a missionary position, and okay, we're 3 minutes in. He about to put me on my stomach, and he puts you on your stomach, and then that happens, and you be like, okay, it's been 2 minutes. I'm on my stomach. He's about to lift my ass up a little bit, and he lifts your ass up. Come on, stop doing that to us. And as women, me and particularly, I want to please my man, and I don't want to make him feel bad.
Make it predictable.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to feel bad. So sometimes I may not say, hey, this is whack, this is dead, but it is what it is.
So I think that is all great points for you to highlight and everything like that, which is great. Now here's my biggest thing I want to say to even tie into what everything that you're basically saying. I think that the biggest difference between pleasing a woman mentally and physically in some ways is most men think that a physical pleasure sometimes is the only type of pleasure.
Yes.
When mental pleasure can be something that could be very, 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 very vitally important.
That's very true.
Because the mental part of it can make the physical part even that much more important to a woman. Now, as a man, I'm going to highlight a point, then I'm going to turn it back over to you to highlight a second point. I think the first thing that I would tell a woman to do for a man is, I'm just going to say it flat out, don't make this into a guessing game. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you expect. Tell me what you think you may want to do, what you think you may want to be. Maybe tell me whatever. You can say, babe, I want to be an astronaut. Communication is the key in this situation. If you're not going to talk to me and tell me what you want, if you're not going to tell me, if you're going to make me guess, you're going to make me have to play this absurd game of I got to read your body language every 5 seconds. There is millions of other things we could be doing that's productive in a conversation.
No, wait a minute. Okay. I get what you're saying. Men, I empathize with you. I truly do. Because sometimes when we won't communicate with
this
you.
means it's going to be bad, y'all.
But wait a minute. Okay, maybe early in relationship, we might have to communicate with our men a little bit better, saying, okay, I like when you do this. I like when you put me in this position, and so on and so forth. But if we've been together, you know what? It ain't got to be about time. If we've had sex multiple times, it's all about how you sense me. You have to be aware of me as a woman, and me as my spirit as a woman. Like, if every time we have sex and I move my body a certain way when we do something, you need to be cognizant of that. I should not have to spell it out for you every single time.
Well,
and
now
you
we're
know,
not talking
and
about
it kills
sex,
the vibe though.
But we're not talking about just sex though. We talk about we in the car, we riding. I turn on the song. I turn from a song that you like, and you sit there. Instead of just saying, "Hey, can you keep that song on?" Or "Hey, I was listening to that." Petty stuff. All you got to do is open your mouth and communicate. Communicate with your man in particular. The same thing that you want a man to do for you is the same thing you need to do for a man. Tell me what you want. Tell him what you want. Tell them exactly sometimes what you want. Sometimes you don't need to tell me exactly. Sometimes you could just give me a vague description of something.
But
and I might be able to take it and go with it.
There's nothing more amazing than a man who can figure it out without you having to spell it out for him. Nothing more amazing than that.
But how many men really pay attention to everything or your every move or everything in general?
But that's the man I'm looking for. The man who can see things like that.
But you see, look.
See, that's the difference between a husband and a nigga I'm just dating.
But do you say that, when you say that, are you saying that a husband material, more or less, is somebody who basically knows you in and out?
Yes.
So that means that your dating process has to be a lot more detailed. That means that the dating process needs to be a lot longer. It means that the relationship process has to be much more emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Because spirits being together in a situation, when we say a spiritual tie to a person, that means even just that person's spirit in the room could just make you feel better.
True, and I would agree with everything you said except for the time aspect. Because I know we've been in situations where you can be with somebody for years and y'all just never have that clicking moment, and you can find somebody you've been with for 3 weeks and a month and you're like, I know that person is for me. So outside of that, everything else you said made this sense.
But we didn't say, when I say time, we're talking about time spent.
Like the investment of time?
The investment of time.
Okay.
Because the investment of time is what you don't build a Fortune 500 company in 30 minutes. You don't build a Fortune 500 company in a week. You have to put together a business plan. You have to get certain business aspects of things together. You have to build this thing. It's the same thing with a relationship. You're building a Fortune 500 company. If you look at, if you're an artist, for all my dudes out here who artists, you're an artist. Look at it as you're making an album. You have to start with a solid intro, and then you got to have a nice outro. So what are you gonna do to put in between in order to build this relationship up to make it the best album? Start taking, and here's where I say men need to pay attention sometimes too. Take something that you love and pertain it to your relationship and build that way, opposed to giving these weak scenarios that you can't relate to. Okay. The more you can relate to men and women, the more you can relate to, the more easy it makes for the transition for you maybe to make some changes. Sometimes we can expect a change, but we just gave a person a reference of dog food and they don't eat dog food, they don't want no dog food, they don't even like the smell of dog food, so why are we talking about dog food? And that just turns you completely off from the conversation. So communication is my first point. Tell me or tell a man what you want, and from that point then we want to go somewhere else with the situation, and we want to make sure that we're able to continue to grow from that communication. So now we want to go to the second point.
Okay, so if you're saying that you want me to tell you what I want, I guess my second point is a man that will actually listen to what I want and then put it into action. So,
big point.
It's really great if I tell you what I want and I can do that over and over and over again. But if you're not going to act upon that, then my words are futile. You know, like there's nothing more annoying than having to repeat yourself multiple times, and then men feel like you're nagging. But believe me, no woman wants that title of being the nagging woman. Like, pay attention to what I say to you the first time around. And I might even, cut you some slack and repeat it to you a second time around, because we human beings, we miss stuff the first time around. It's okay. But stop making me repeat myself. Like, you need to be able to say, okay, if she says it twice, she must be serious. So when I say, hey babe, I really like it when we go out multiple times a week because I don't like to be bored, there's no reason why the next week we spent the whole, week in the house. And then you wonder why, if somebody DMs me and asks me to go out, then I'm looking over here. Well, you're not helping the situation. You're not helping me to choose you, because I've already told you and communicated with you what I need and what I desire, and you're not feeding into that.
Okay. I'm going to say my second point is going to be respect. I'm going to go respect for a couple of reasons, because respect is a neutral field. Respect. Respect is not just respecting a person in the way you speak. It's respecting that person in the way you do things. It's respecting that person in the way you say things, do things, maybe even the way you might carry yourself. Because you're basically saying, I respect myself a certain type of way. So self-respect takes a toll in a relationship as well. If you respect yourself, you will never put yourself in a situation where you can be, I want to say, labeled as something other than a woman, a child, a guy, whatever you want to call yourself. Okay, now, self-respect in a lot of different ways, people overlook this self-respect aspect of things because they don't understand that a simple love of yourself could then translate to be able to love another.
Absolutely.
If I can't love myself, how can I love you? Loving yourself sometimes is taking care of yourself a certain type of way. You don't want to have yourself out here looking any old type of way. Now, everybody has rough weeks, everybody has rough times and things like that. But self-respect sometimes is about presentation. Sometimes self-respect can be about presentation. So presentation meaning, okay, well, let me go ahead and let me show her a great time. Because I'm showing you something. I'm presenting a time or a setting for you that may be different. Being spontaneous. Those type of things. Because you have respect for somebody who maybe you don't want to be bored. So maybe you say, hey, I don't want to be bored. So let me treat this person like I might want to be treated in this situation. So respect goes in those ways because it ties into everything. Because it really shows you if a person respects you sometimes, you don't have to tell them certain things because they already know or understand it, because they have certain levels of respect for themselves on the inside in order for them to be able to comprehend or even believe in themselves enough to believe that you in you and believe in you and that person can work out. So I want to jump in and let you dive into that, because I think you got something you might want to say.
Respect, that is a very key point in a relationship, because just speaking as a woman, a lot of black women were super dominant because that's what we've been groomed to be in this culture. And we'll get with a man, and then we'll have a hard time understanding that sometimes a man needs a certain level of respect in order for him to be a man. And if you treat a man like a boy or a child, you will strip everything from him, and then the relationship can become completely null and void, because he's thinking to himself, well, you're talking to me and you're treating me like you're my mother. And no man desires that in his woman. Every man desires a woman who will uplift him and who will build him, not somebody who will constantly beat him down. So although we might say to ourselves, well, I am trying to uplift you because I'm trying to build you up, we think we're being assertive, we're really being too aggressive. So we have to learn as women the difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. Like, okay, sometimes we need to step back and let that man be a man. Like, if you say to him, okay, I want to do this, give him some time to do it. You know what I mean? Like, respect him enough to believe in your man and to believe that he can act upon your words and that he can facilitate what you're looking for. You know, don't give up on him so easily. because that's disrespectful in itself. And that's a lot of things I feel like, even with myself, that we as black women and women of color need to completely evolve about ourselves. We need to learn how to step back and not always have to be the strongest one in the household, and let the man be able to do it sometimes as well.
Okay, so we got the do's so far. We got respect, which is the last thing we just highlighted. We got communication. We got pleasure, whether it be sexual or mental pleasure, or whatever. And then we have you said something else. It was listening, comprehension. Mm-hmm. So those are just 4 points. We're not going to make a million points, because we just want some people to get a couple of good ones and maybe stick to them. Maybe those 4 points might be something that might help you in your relationship moving forward. So with that being said, we're going to close out this particular show and this particular segment of the show, and we're going to focus on something else. But we really appreciate you listening, and most of all, we just ask that you just continue to strive to be the best man or woman you can be every day moving forward in these relationships. Thanks.